Recording in progress. I like the one that's that one. Okay. That one works. Okay. I did have to end up plugging in that. Okay. But I remembered you said the charger right here. That's good. It's kind of weird.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
All right, is it good enough? Loud enough?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we hearing from?
The TV.
That's the freaking special.
What did you do this week, Kristen? I feel like that happens every Monday. I'm like,
No.
it did something.
We are getting my sister's home packed up. She's going to be moving to be home with her daughter. So, yeah. But she, instead of moving her to Kansas, we're just moving into, which is good for now.
Yeah.
Interrupt her health. So we did that. Saw our kids and how about you?
Sad. Oh, my sister, my older sister, she came by. She wanted to see the new office. I was telling her about it. She got to see it. She was really excited about it. And then we went and floated the river.
Nice. That's so nice. I miss doing that.
Yeah, super
I haven't
nice.
been able to do it this much this year because
Yeah, for sure. And then on Saturday, she spent the night, and then we just hung out. We had like a small group hang out at the barn. Saturday.
yeah, that's fun. I love the barn.
Yeah.
That's
You
such
guys-
good food.
Sorry, you guys didn't meet last Monday with the coaches on 11?
No, they wanted you to be there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's not what they told me. Yeah. Okay, so I can do 11. It's tight for me today. Did you get that text
I
message
just
already?
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can do that. That's fine.
Okay, should we reply back? Sounds good. I know Sarah's getting her tire
Yeah, I saw
fixed right
that.
now. Victor just had to have a screw taken out of his tire.
I'll text them saying it's good for
Okay.
us as the leadership.
What do you guys do?
Coaching team or coaching, so we can talk about onboarding. There's like,
Oh, good.
yeah.
There's some gaps that were like, who's supposed to be doing what? And it's good for us to get it all down. And
Love
they're asking Corinne to do some stuff that she's never been an agent, so it doesn't really, we just got to figure out who's supposed to do what.
Yeah.
And by the way, Lone Wolf owns Zip Farms, which I didn't realize. So I think that's
That's
where
what
she-
Well, here's part of the problem. So the other day, Lionel goes to, Jacob calls him. He's like panicky, and of course Lionel takes it. It was in the evening, and he's got to write an offer. He didn't have his form set up. Well, Lionel hasn't set up forms in years, and it's got to be a follow through at some point. Now he was on this team, like there's a big gap in that, but Lionel wouldn't even know how to tell him where to go to set up forms.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So, but they
Do
worked
you
it
know
out
how to do
and
it?
helped him write an offer. Well, it needs to be in the
Yes.
instructions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you don't, you need to learn it.
Yeah.
Because-
Yeah. I did.
Whether they come, start pitching right away or they don't, they need to get their forms right away. So,
I thought you were talking about Jacob Hines-Vogel, not
No.
Thompson, but that makes sense
Yes.
for him because
no. And they got an offer written and everything and it
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
out, but Lionel
because he was,
I have no idea when I was here. He was already onboarded, so he didn't get his form set up.
Did you guys meet with him? Didn't you do orientation with him?
we did do orientation and stuff like that, but I asked him to
He
clarify.
was already on the team.
Yeah.
you know, let that's what mine said. I wouldn't even let them ask.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so those are the kinds of things we're
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
iron out.
Yeah. Which is
Okay.
totally fine. And I did that with Jake, kinds of old rules. I helped set that whole stuff up.
Yeah, yeah,
It's always the things that got missed when we were on board, like that he actually made it really better, but would get missed would be like the email they're supposed to get to opt in to get that, like all these little things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Oh, remember the IDX thing for e-agency, Laura? That was so ridiculous.
The what?
How they would have to wait for this random email
Oh, yeah.
to like opt in to Lomo
Yeah.
to get in the back
Yeah.
end of their, or whatever it was.
And most people missed it.
And everyone
Yeah.
missed it. Yeah, and then they didn't have any property search on their website. It was so like the 9th Street building closes this week. Really? Isn't that good for Sue?
Yeah.
I'm
Like she sold it or she just
It's-
closed it down?
no, it's sold, it closes, like the transactions.
Oh. I see. That's super exciting. Yay. Who bought it? Do you know?
I don't know who bought it, but I'm happy for them. What's the 9th Street, the office building, it's sold and it closes this week.
Yay.
And I'm super happy for them.
Awesome. Yeah. Was it to a medical thing? Do you know? You know?
We were just talking about that.
We know.
We don't know.
I know that was one of the ones they were talking to. Some kind of human resource.
I think you should be good to go. I'll be on Zoom as well in the front and then let people in needed and all that.
Okay, thank you. That's a good quote. It's my quote, but I probably heard it from somebody else.
Yeah.
I say it all the time.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Like, do not disturb this phone. All right. 3 minutes.
We're gonna end up in the second color. There's two here, and there's one bigger one right there.
How can I change how to see?
Gallery.
I want it on gallery.
Let me
Shoot, what did I just do? Oh, I just not crazy, didn't I?
let me go in as another person because I think that's what it needs.
I don't like this view. I didn't mean to do that. I'm not used to a not Mac computer, that's fine. There we go. Like it's not. Okay, now I can see it. It doesn't do it until you have more people.
Yeah. Good morning, Melinda.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear us, Melinda. Hello.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you do know. My husband,
She's
yeah.
gonna start teaching a class in Mid-Willamette, but it opens this big space where. Teach in here. This is our training space. And then there's actually a backboard and there's teaching offices actually. All of them are out
It looks like we're mostly Zoom today.
Morning. Yeah.
Morning.
Where's she going? Okay. And,
How's Kristen today?
and then it just.
It is. Good. How are you?
Good.
You and I are gonna
Good. I'm glad you're joining us.
Yeah, who all we got?
Well, right now it's us and Melinda. Let's see. Nina. We're getting a little group online, so that's great. Today, we are talking about a really fun topic, which is strength in relationships. We are in session 12. Session 12. I'm going to put in the chat my quote really quick. Get to the chat. Come on. There we go, chat. Everyone. All right, for everyone just joining, I'm writing a quote in the chat that I just put on the board here. Because we will be talking about this and referring to this quote. Something that I observed in coaching all of my clients over the years, and is that the gap between converting someone to that in any point level, right? To choose to work with you, to help them choose a home, to close, the gap between your conversion and that result is the relationship. So today we're talking about a very important element of our business. Lost Melinda, so she's coming back. Very important element of our business is building relationship, strengthening relationships. Another way that I like to have people assess, right? So whether you've been in the business for a minute or you're a seasoned agent, pumping up your business through Ignite, or you've come from another company, no matter where you are in your level of experience, you can go through your database, your contacts, your lead list, and you can ask yourself this: what's one thing that I could do today, that I could ask, that I could initiate, that would take this relationship one step closer?
Ask that again.
What's one thing? So you go as you're coming across your call sheet, your list, right, of your contacts, your sphere, each person at a time, ask that question. What's one thing I could do today? Ask them, or conversation I could have with them that would take this relationship one step closer. The interesting thing about this entire business is the job is not about homes. The job is about people. The business is about people. It's about relationships towards helping people find a home. Yes, right? And I'm not saying homes are not important, but we are in the relationship building business. And when you get that at extremely high level, you will be successful. And there are some key elements that we're going to discuss today that will help you build on that will help you expand wherever you're at. So we're going to go through and start. Make sure. Okay, so last week we started with lead follow-up. Honestly, we could have grouped all of these classes together. That's the reality. We don't. We chunk it down to small chunks because then we get a little bit of meat and then we apply a little bit and we apply, right? So the goal is that every day after class, you're working on your success system by making your contacts, doing some follow-ups, sending your note cards, looking at properties, doing your social media posts, right? The success system, I will review it. If you're just jumping in or if you haven't started doing that, it's right in your workbook today and we'll review it. So strengthen relationships. The other thing I want to make note of, and Leno reminded me this morning, it was a really good reminder, is that repetition is the key to all learning. Right? So, and it's learning, it's knowledge, not for knowledge sake. It's learning for application sake. Right? So if we don't have repetition built in, then we'll miss things. So it is designed to repeat. Yes, by design. So I just want you to know that if you're like, oh yeah, we heard some of this stuff last class. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So we're layering it together now under the lens of strength and relationships. Obviously, this section, lead follow-up, it's all about lead follow-up, right? So that's layered in. And this is the aspect of, to me, what's most important about lead follow-up is your opportunity to build a relationship. When you do that, they will work with you. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to talk about identifying, first establish your mindset. This layout is so funky to me because I'm like, what's number one? Is it the top? So establishing your mindset, identifying your goals, creating a plan, some recap and ahas, and then our daily success system. So really, we probably will get done early today. Does anybody mind if we get done early today? No? Okay. No. Renee, Melinda. Okay, great. Here's the funny part. As a maths coach, by the way, let me back up and introduce myself because I know Billy knows me, I know Melinda knows me, but I'm not sure Rena, you know me. I am Kristen Wilson, and I am what we call the operating principal broker here at Keller Williams Mid-Willamette, which means this: I oversee all management of the office. Now, that isn't Angela's role. She's a compliance broker, right? So she is all about compliance, review, and broker. Other brokerages, they're one and the same. I just want to make that clarity so people understand the difference. So I get to be a part of the leadership team and a part of the ownership team to cast vision and implement strategies to make our market center, your office, your business, the best that you want it to be. Okay, so establishing mindset. I could talk about mindset for 2 hours and I won't, so you're welcome. I love this quote. Who wants to read it? Somebody read this quote for me real quick.
Know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action.
Exactly does. There is a bold law that I love that reminds that this reminds me of. By the way, I'm going to do a quick plug for Bold. Bold is our most result impacting program in all of Keller Williams, and like literally millions of transactions come from it. In fact, the average now is every agent that goes through Bold does 16 new pieces of business in 8 weeks. So that's average. Some walk away with more, but here's what I'm going to say. We're starting it and hosting it in October. Agents will come from all over the state to come to. Hello? Melinda, did you have something to share?
Sorry, I'm driving and commenting to the other vehicles. I need to mute myself.
All right, be careful out there. Be careful out there, Melinda. So BOLD stands for this: business objective, a life by design. And we are getting the best BOLD coach in the country to come here. His name is Cody Gibson. People fly to see him. We are that fortunate. It will sell out, which means it'll be over 80 in the room. If we can get a room for 100, we will. And like I said, I'm not exaggerating. We're thinking, huh?
Where will it be?
It will be here. We will host it in Corvallis, Albany. We're the hosting group. So we'll pick a venue that will hold us depending on our size. First step likely will be in one of the hotel rooms, like big ballrooms, like suite, conference suites or something. But Cody is dynamic. Cody has one of the largest businesses across the country. Cody came from nothing. He came from literally zero, poverty as a child, and he'll share his story. It's a phenomenal story. So just plugging that for everyone that I know him personally. He's definitely made my business and life better, and I'm going to recommend everybody go to it. In fact, if you don't go, you'll feel like you missed out. Okay, so anyway, the BOLD law, clarity is power, is what stands out to me about this. Know that growth comes from clarity, priorities, and focused action. And I love that clarity is power. So that's what stands out for me when I think about this, is when I have actual clarity as to what is the most important thing to do every day, there's power in that, right? Have any of you, in this business, and I will raise my hand to say, like, showed up some days and been like, okay, what do I do today? Like, that's an actual real thing. And most of us go through it right in the beginning. When we have clarity as to what to do and how to show up every day, and we know how to prioritize that, then we can have focused action. All right, so you guys saw this, right? This isn't a new image. We had it in our last classes, true. This is the lead gen model, right? Lead capture goes into your database, leads and contacts, and then prepare contacts for conversion, and then, right, we get business. Who can tell me the difference between leads and contacts in this, for this class? And it's huge, and I skipped the screen, so there you go. Who wants to read that?
You want the bullet points, leads, and contacts?
Yeah,
Okay, so leads, you have the right to have a,
hold on, let me move this. This is from a girl who is used to math, so sorry.
one-way conversation. Contacts, you have engaged in a two-way conversation. A value-based relationship has been established.
Right? So if you think about that, in this context, what is a one-way conversation, Billy?
I send you an email or a text and you don't respond.
Exactly.
Welcome to Lead Gen 101.
Right? Yeah. So you're just speaking at, or you've had a message to someone or sometime. That's a good way to look at that. And then context. Mackenzie, what is an example of that?
A like back and forth conversation.
Yeah, in what context might that happen? Like, let's give an example of a practical thing we might be doing as agents.
I am driving and I'm almost to the office. Can I get another question in a few minutes?
No worries, because I'll give one, like open house, right? You've done an open house. You guys, most of you have done an open house. You've engaged in a two-way conversation, so maybe it's not a strong one yet, but you've established somewhat of relationship, right? And beyond that, right? There's other ways. Your sphere, your database, maybe you got a call to go show a listing, or just people you know, right? So you've already established a little bit of a relationship. It's more than one way, right? Thus, right, a two-way conversation, as it says, but you're able to bring some sort of value now based on the relationship, okay? So we have lots of ways that we get to do that. So it's good for you guys to know the difference and start writing that down, right? So when we talk about making our contacts for the day or our connections for the day, it's more than just messaging a lead. Hear me when I say that, right? It's two-way communication is what qualifies it. Now, I'm not here to judge you or say, oh, you didn't make those contacts. That's up to you to decide for your business. What I'm going to say is it will show up whether you're just messaging leads or you're actually making contacts. It shows up in your conversion, which is why I put in the chat and on the board the gap in your conversion, meaning the gap from that conversion to the result you want. The gap is just a relationship. That's all it is. So once in a relationship, hi. I'm sorry for throwing you on the spot there. I'm glad you can make it into the room. Yay.
On a crazy morning, sorry.
No worries. Hey, we've all been there. So the gap is just a relationship, right? And here's a good thing to talk about. I believe, you guys, and I want you to know this. You might get sideswiped occasionally by someone in your life that you thought might use you as a real estate professional and did. The gap is the relationship. We might say, hey, man, these were really close friends of mine. Okay. But the perception of the relationship on your end might be different than the perception of the relationship on their end. Now, please don't hear me say they hate you. That doesn't mean that at all. Here, I want to give you guys the most important piece about this, because we're talking about mindset. We're going to talk about mind share. Your job, your new job, right, in building relationship is literally transforming in their mind who they think you are first. So I want you to think of someone from your past. Just think of someone from your past right now. Like, let me know, raise hands, hello, when you got someone specific from your past in your mind. Now, I want you to think about the ways you know them or the reasons you know them. Went to school, worked at, played on this ball team, farmed with, do you see what I'm saying? You see all the ways people know you, all the ways they know you. Imagine all the connections, the brain connections that people make, that the brain filters through when they see Mackenzie's name, when they see Michael's name, right? When they hear Billy. There's so many levels to get through. Now we're adding one. Your opportunity is in rewiring their brain that they say, Michael, oh, real estate. Billy, oh, real estate. Mackenzie, oh, real estate. Not neighbor, sister, cousin, junior high friend, right? That's the opportunity, right? So when we say that we want to strengthen the relationship, it's in the lane of the relationship with you as a real estate professional now, right? It's like when we get our phone, right? Now, if I was holding the Apple phone, if I was holding version 1, can you imagine if I was trying to run all the apps that are available to me today? They don't work, right? So the only information that the version 1 Apple is taking in is the information that it got how many years ago? How long has the iPhone been around? 16 years, 18 years. Your friends, your sphere, your community's brain is like version 1 of the iPhone, and you're over here on version 12 in your professional career. And it's stuck there. This is why deep diving into your relationships, your sphere, your database, your content, this is why it's so important, and we talk about it every class. We cannot say it enough. Repetition is the key to all learning. You get to help them update the software in their brain for version Michael, version Melinda, version Rita. You get to do that. That's your opportunity. Isn't that fun? When you understand that, it's kind of great because it becomes game. And I like to gamify things. Okay, little tangent on that. So we talk about bless you. We talk about a lot our values as a company, right? Who knows the acronym I'm talking about?
W.
Yeah. You're getting it? Y, 4C, 2 T's. That's right. I recently, and I've known that for 20 years. I recently spelled it out, like each acronym letter, because I thought people that don't know us won't get it. And Laura's like, nah, just put them. 4 C's, 2 T's. And because my brain works that way, right? I'm like, it's 4 C's and it's 2 T's. She's like, oh, don't do that. So funny. But the first C is communication. Communication, seek first to understand. So I'm sharing that with you because we want to approach our conversations from a seek first to understand lens. When I say seek first to understand, what comes up for you guys? Like, what does that mean to you, or what words come up? What do you think about?
Why they might be interested in selling their home.
Yes, ma'am. Right? What else?
Clarity.
Love that. Get clarity. How can we get clarity?
That's the right question.
Money. Right there. Ask questions. Why? Ask questions. Questions. I'm going to say this 9 times today. The answer is always going to be ask questions. I want you guys to know that. In fact, write this down. I'm a professional question asker. If you want a superpower in this business, become a professional question asker. You cannot know the perception of the relationship. You cannot know their understanding of who you are and your new identity, your new profession. You cannot know what resources, what value is to them, not you. You cannot know without asking questions. Hey, Joel. You cannot know, right? Why guess? Unless somebody here is a mind reader, which, by the way, good for you if you are. But unless you're a mind reader, when you make an assumption, you're simply saying, I can read their minds. You cannot. Right? Have you ever been in a situation where you're with a professional or a sales professional and they're trying to tell you what you need? Could they have just asked? Yeah. It's so simple, and yet we miss it. Our job, building relationship with people, our helper and our superpower for that is to be a great question asker. By the way, side note, and I know this isn't this class, but because I'm a coach, I want to throw it in. The fastest way to build rapport is to ask questions. And the reason it builds rapport is because people love talking about themselves. And when you listen, that just the fact that you're doing active listening, like by active listening, you're giving listening signs, you're taking some notes, maybe you're repeating back what they said. Oh yeah, so I can see that this is important to you. They know you're listening. They think you are connected to them. It makes a connection. So that's like building rapport, builds the relationship. Asking questions builds rapport, which builds relationships. Plus, then you're armed with the most powerful knowledge about them that you can be. What they think, not what you think. Okay. Okay. Focus on building relationships and take market share. When I first read this quote, I was a little bit like, well, yeah, right? I mean, it seems simple, right? Yeah, of course, you want to focus on building relationships and we will take market share. But really what it's saying is when we focus on building relationships, the result of that will be market share. A little bit different way of looking at it, right? So we're going to start with mindset. And I want to camp here for a minute. And this is a shorter class for those of you who weren't here at the beginning. So everyone that's not Billy, we're going to have a little bit shorter class if you're okay with that. And then you have some time to work on your success system, make your contacts. Okay. Today's conversation is tomorrow's transaction. And by tomorrow, I mean some tomorrow, right? It's not exactly tomorrow. It's one of the key ingredients to having a positive, empowered mindset is being aware of the mindset you have now. So your awareness is the only way that you can level that up, okay? So think about that. First, we want to identify our mindset. I want you to play a game with me, okay? If you can write, you have something to write with. No, Melinda's driving. Rena, I don't know if you are, but hopefully you're able to participate with this. I have to plug this in.
I'm driving as well. I'm on my way in.
Okay, good. Hopefully this reaches because it's like a little wonky here.
I'm not driving anymore. I'm watching you on the beautiful office TV in Corvallis.
Oh, yay. Okay. So I want you guys to play a game. So be ready to write. I'm going to say a word and I want you to write down the first word that comes to you, right? We're going to do a few of those, okay? So lead gen. First word that comes to you, don't edit, okay? Ask for a referral. First word that comes to you. Ask for a referral. Make $1 million. Contact 100 people in a week. Contact 100 people in a day. Go on appointment every day. Door knocking. I want you to review your words and your statements or your phrases or the things that came to mind when I said those things. And I just picked up some at random. I didn't have a list. And I'm not saying, oh, you have to door knock or you have to go an appointment a day. What I do want you to be aware of is your energy and your mindset around that. Because I want you to know if anyone can do these things, everyone can. right? And guess what? A newsflash is as big as we are about personal behavior styles and assessments, there's not one for this role. Any personal behavior, any personality can do this job because there are ways to do it that fits who you are. Even door knocking. Even door knocking, we do this assessment called the DISC, DISC. You can be any one of those and still do door knock because you can look at it under the lens of what's important to you, of your personality style that you can deliver to that door. So, I just want you to be aware. And here's a great way for you to keep this real for you every day. When you look at your calendar and you look at your 5 priorities, we're going to talk about this in a minute, of the real estate professional, the 5 most important things that we do every day. If you start to feel weird or any resistance towards any one of those and see yourself in avoidance mode of it, that's when you're ready for a mindset reset, right? To refresh your mindset around it. How do we do that? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the first step is awareness. Now, this material talks about how leads are the seeds. And by the way, if you're following along with a packet, we're on 12.3. I'm going to fill these in. If you have the packet, or we're on actually 12.4. No, 12.3. If you think about a garden, the leaves are the seeds, and your contacts with them are plants, and your conversion is your harvest, right? So leaves are seeds, contacts are plants, conversion is harvest. Well, I think it's safe to say everybody here wants to have a plentiful harvest, right? Whatever that harvest size is, we want some bounty, right? Right? And think about it, you know the process of planting, watering, and right? There's, based on your soils, based on your attention to the garden, based on your, right, like when you put it in or how ready it was when you planted, you're going to have different level of responses, right? Which is why we like starters, which is why we go to Home Depot and get some plants that are starters, right? That's why we like some starter leaves, like from the open house or from things like that, because they're more ready to produce the fruit. But we are starting from scratch and we're dropping all those seeds in and we nurture it till the time it's appropriate to reap the harvest. Now, how do we make sure that we're going to have a harvest large enough to fund our big life? Well, we're going to do the math, right? We've probably done some of the math on that in the last few classes, right? On lead gen and lead follow-up. But how many follow-up techniques do we think it takes to get harvest? Anyone know?
7 to 8.
Yeah, that's good. So we had 7 to 8 from Michael, 6 to 8 from Billy. That's right, because it's about 7 touches before they will make the decision to work with you. However, I'm going to throw another number out there from the NAR. The average nurture is 18 months. So let me say I met Mr. and Mrs. Seller door knocking. And then I followed up with them, sent them a note card. They gave me their phone number or emailed me, called me, right? Like we had 7 times and they're like, yeah, we appreciate you, show us the value of your home, and they're not going to sell for a while. It could be 18 months before they sell or longer. If the average is 18, double that, right? What is that, 36? Which means some are a couple months out, some are 36 months out, right? That's 3 years. So if the average is 18, that means I'm going to be continuing to nurture them, right? Follow up, water that garden, right? Get the weeds out to strengthen that relationship. And as long as they do that, no one will get in the way of it. Which is why we have this slide. Once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. Either way, once you've met them, you put them in your database and stay in touch with them forever. Forever. If you don't have a goal to be their realtor for life, I'm going to tell you right now that when you put that as your goal for your database, that you're not just being their realtor to close the next deal, but you want to work in such a way and serve them and care for them and stay in touch with them in such a way that they would never want to use anyone else. It changes how you approach things. It changes how you look at your systems and your follow through. So the second C in our Y4C 2 T's is commitment in all things. So when we pair that first question, communication, seek first to understand, ask them questions, right? So we have all the information gathered. With the second one, commitment, a commitment level to be with them through it and to the end. The very end. I'm talking about the end of the lifespan. There's no more homes to buy and sell, and there's no more conversations to get referrals from. That's commitment, right? And I love this. The information that is shared in Ignite is the difference between capturing that relationship and getting that kind of business out of it and not is the emotional proximity with our contacts. I really liked that emotional proximity, right? When I talked about updating, right, their brain to who you are in identity and then building that relationship and keeping in rapport with that, it creates this emotional proximity. And when we have that, no other agent can get in between you. Just like I said, the gap is the relationship. So in order to be successful at nurturing these relationships, we need to understand our goal. So we're going to talk about identifying our goals, which I just shared a good goal, right? Realtors for life. But let's break that down to closer goals, okay? So here's the follow through, right? Lead gen, right? For generating leads, then we follow up with them. And at some point we have conversion and that results in a transaction. However, we've all seen the graph, right? Or if you haven't, we know that people move on average, how long? Who can share? How long? Yeah, 7 to 10. 7 to 10 years. It used to be 10 years and then it moved to 7, but I'm going to say it's probably right now, it looks a little bit less than that. I mean, over the last 5 years, the gap has gotten a little bit shorter, but overall it's 7 to 10 years, right? And lead follow-up can seem, I think to most agents, it seems like unnecessary at some point. Yeah, totally necessary. Because there can be people 10 years out, right? 10 years out. I shared with the last class last Friday that, man, what if your system looked like right after they close? Okay, I'm going to put you down for 7 years from now is your next move, right? Kind of as a joke, but kind of in reality. So you're planting the seed in their mind that I'm your realtor then. And in between that time, here's the way I'm going to provide high-level customer service and community and resources and some fun stuff along the way. I had one of the coaching clients share a closed stage 23-year follow-up lead this week.
Wow.
No joke. Not only that, she had a listing appointment with a 10-year follow-up. 10-year. That's commitment. I was like, yeah. It's powerful. Do we have, we think about 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, even 24 months.
Powerful or exhausting?
Nurturing plans, right? We're going to make a plan for it so it's less exhausting, right? But once we have a plan, right? Can you look into your pipeline and go, who's going to buy in 2 years? Who's going to sell in 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years? But what if you could? If your pipeline was built out that far, you only have to do is set up a 36 touch plan to get you there. We had a couple list me call, and I say that actually kind of teasingly because my son, who was my ISA at the time, had been talking to her every few weeks for years. Now, she was a for sale by owner that he had originally called, and she kept listing her house for sale by owner off and on for a couple of years. And but Caleb kept calling her, whether it was listed or not. The lower, what happened? He kept calling. And so finally she called and said, I want you to list my property. I've been talking to Caleb for years and come out and list my property. We got there, and it was interesting because she had this little folder. And in that folder were lots of business cards and even some flyers, probably a stack of 20 agents. But on the inside was our team, Caleb's name, and all the conversations she'd had with them. And she pointed out to us that all of those agents that had dropped by, checked in on her, of all of them, none of them tried again. So when she was over it, right? And now she had a need, and the need was, we got to sell this because now our job's changing. We're moving to Bend. She called us. It was just one more name on his follow-up call list that came up in our CRM that he dialed on every few weeks. Just one more name. Got her voicemail a lot, texted her multiple times, sent her an out card. It's a few minutes, right? I'm gonna say it was like $500,000 property. It was a little hobby farm on Riverside Drive, but that's our job, you guys. That's our job. When we put that hat on every day, we will be filling the pipeline for years. Okay, so identify the goal. We want to convert contacts to closed business, right? Our goal is to convert leads to appointments, which we already talked about, right? And I want you to think about this. This is a good point that they make. We learned that not every lead is able and ready and willing to, right? That's fine. However, there is great scripts around helping them meet with you sooner rather than later that I can help you guys with. But when they're not ready for an appointment, we use our follow-up techniques. But I want you to think about this. How many emails, maybe databases that you think you guys might be in other professions that call you to check on you from time to time, or that send you that email information, or that twice yearly sale of Nordstrom? How many Amazon emails do you get, right? And none of it matters until it matters. Well, you're the same, right? All those connections that you're making over and over again, it's fine, but it's not relevant until it's relevant. Well, there is a way, by the way, to make it more relevant. And I talked about that last week, right? Having a great customer service plan, being their resource, being the one they think of, right? And we talked a little bit about that too in this session, because it is part of building the relationship stronger further. But raise your hand if you ever, or raise your hand on Zoom if you've ever signed up for an email list or text message code that you didn't use the moment you signed up. Anyone? The worst is social media, right? Text or send a text to this to get this discount code and then end up not wanting to buy it in the end. Yeah. Instagram gets me all the time. So, you know, the same thing is in our industry. It's just that when we get in conversation with them, we can ask different questions that may uncover what's important to them or what could be important to them about what they would want to hear, see, or have said or brought to them. Okay. So the main goal is to become top of mind, right? We talked about that. We're building the relationship because we want to become top of mind. And here's where I want to bring in a little bit of bold as well. In bold, and I shared about this last week too, we talk about the reticular activator center in the brain. They shorten it to be the RAS, okay? And it's like this: once you bought your car, you never saw your car before, driving around, and you go and buy a car, pick it out on the lot, and then you leave and you start to see it everywhere, right? That happens to all of us, correct? And that's because now our brain is wired to see the car that we're driving. Oops. Scary. Our brain is literally now wired to see it. Our RAS has been activated. So when we do that update, version 13.0 Billy, right, in people's brains, and now he's a real estate professional, the goal is to activate, keep their mindset activated to that. That's how we wire it, and create that mind share, gaining that mind share in their brain for the real estate profession. So here's a review of our stats on this slide. Let's talk about that. 74 to 75% of all buyers and sellers spoke with just one agent. Isn't that great? Also, even better, only 15% of them even considered another. How do you get to be that one? The only way you get to be that one is these things that we've been talking about. That conversation, creating that programming, that mind share, updating the version of who you are in their life, and staying connected to them in a way that keeps their RAS activated to you. Also, this is the key for getting referrals too, because every time you call them or that subject email comes in their email or that text across, they remember, oh yeah, Mackenzie asked me for referrals. It reactivates their RAS. And now when they're living their daily life, they might hear the conversations of people wanting to have a real estate professional. So the goal is nurturing our relationships with our contacts. The goal in that is to stay top of mind. Simple as that. It's not rocket science. I know it's not. But what I want you guys to understand is the magic power behind it. How do you give yourself that competitive edge, that step up, that level up? In reality, don't most of us do mostly the same things? There's no mystery in what we do. Come on. We might say something a little differently. We might have a splash page that we show them, right? I've got a couple value pieces that I love to share with my sellers, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, right, there's no mystery in what we do. There's no mystery. There may be some mystery in how we deliver it, right? But there's no mystery in what we do. So how do we keep that competitive edge? Well, we just keep people They're aroused activated to us. That mind share is the most, it is the most important piece of location, right? We're about real estate, right? Location, location, location. I want you to think location, location, location in their brain. And you want to be the number one. You want to own the real estate mind share in their brain. They only have room for it. It needs to be you. It's not you. And they're not working. Okay.
But I was like, how am I gonna do this? Because at first I was like.
So now that once we've nurtured our relationship with them, the goal is to obviously keep them after transaction, remaining in that emotional proximity to help them share our value proposition over and over again. How many of you have asked a friend who they go to when looking for a new position, a new hairstylist, tailor, a restaurant? How many of you?
That's
Right?
for a what?
Yeah, ask a friend if you're looking for a new dentist, a new lawn guy, right?
95%.
Right? Yeah. Do you see it all the time on Facebook? Yeah. In ISO, search fill in the blank, right?
Well, even if our agent used to pay this. You guys.
I know. That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Even our agent use page. Why do you think they don't pick the first thing that comes up in the search engine when they search online? Why do you think?
Anybody can buy that spot. Buy referral comes to actions.
Personal, having used them. Yeah, that's right. It is. People trust the people that know them, right? It's social proof, we call it. They want validation in their choice, right? It's just human nature. So if you're top of mind, you're the one they recommend. That's the goal. How do I get to be the one they recommend? All of these layers play into that. Strengthen the relationship by asking more questions, which builds rapport, right? Which creates a deeper relationship, which gives you the opportunity to talk to them more, which creates resource and value to them, right? And your understanding of what that means to them. Even if they've never used you in real estate yet, you call them with a plan and a passion to help serve them with their house, maintenance, resource, and beyond multiple times throughout the year. Even if you were not their last agent, you can win them over with value that's important to them. And now you're the name. And I can't even tell you the number of people I've talked to who can't remember who last sold them a house. It's the reality. It's the opportunity, right? It's our opportunity. Okay. So here's an interesting one. In 2021, NER found that 47% of buyers who used an agent were referred by a friend, neighbor, or relative. So 47% of buyers. And that number jumps to 57% for first-time home buyers. Because they don't know who to turn to. They've never done this process before. They're likely not on email lists yet.
47% use the person referral.
Yeah.
57 for home first time buyer.
57%, the number jumps, right? So if you just, when they just surveyed first-time home buyers, 57% of first-time home buyers were referred by friend, family member, work person. But overall buyers, 47%. Yeah. All right, so take a couple minutes and just jot down in your guide anything that just stood out to you. And the reason why we do this is because it helps cement it into your brain. Some of the things that have stood out to you about what I've shared so far today.
Approximately 12 to 15 cents. What? Oh. And it's not.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about some plants, right? We want in Calorian's land, we're always talking about systems, right? And we talk a lot about leverage. Well, systems are leverage. As Billy shared earlier, right, when I was talking about how long you might be nurturing some of these people, said it sounds exhausting, right? 23 years, 10 years. Not we have helpers, right? We have the opportunity to create some helpers that will give us the easy button to stay connected, to stay top of mind. I love to share this with everyone because I've talked to a lot of agents who were with Keller Wilson for a while and didn't start their plans or their 36 touch plans, and then eventually finally did. And we're like, why did it wait so long? And I just want to share that even though it seems like a little work up front, the cool part is when it's done, right? And then it's like a few minutes a year just monitoring it and managing it, saying, do I still like this content that's going on? You know, like just do I want to level it up a bit? But my advice to you guys is don't make it more than it is. Also, start with a few things at a time, right? So today we're going to be looking into 19 Connect and 36 to convert. The 19 to Connect touch plan was in your last session, right? And it might be more geared towards something more specific, like a seller or a buyer, right? You're talking about a smart plan that has specific information.
Oh, thank you.
Your connect. Melinda, did you have a question?
Sorry, no, not right now.
That's okay. So here's the cool part. If you're already doing one of your smart plans or a couple of the smart plans, you just can build on that in layers. Because if you look at the side-by-side comparison, the 36 to convert is not much more than the 19 to connect, right?
Okay.
Monthly newsletters, promotional 2 touches, promotional direct, 1 annual event party, which doesn't even have to be an expensive one. Or, your 4 calls quarterly are the same, right? So if you put in there, imagine, and I'm looking at the 19 Connect, but in the 36 to convert, it says 26 touches bi-weekly. Does that seem a lot to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so I appreciate you being honest because it does seem a lot to a lot of people, and they usually tell me that. Like, what am I going to say 26 times? But I want you, if you just made a list. Okay, so first of all, let's say you do a monthly newsletter. By the way, keep your newsletter simple. By the way, they're not going to mostly click through, but that subject line is the most important. line of the entire newsletter. And that's what puts you top of mind, okay? Your name and that subject line. Okay, but here, I want you to think about it. So 12 newsletters, okay, that's already 12. Now we need 14 more to get to 26, right? Or plus. Right up every holiday. How many is that? Do we almost have a holiday a month? Yes. So
Mhm.
factor in 12 different holidays. Now we're at 24. And then imagine you were also doing some specific things like daylight savings email reminder, or back to school specials, or I'm going to email everybody how to maintenance their roof from a roofing guy, not from yourself, right? Like imagine those extra touches were part of your customer service plan. A quarterly email on one of your vetted business partners. Now can you see how those numbers can add up quickly? Melinda, thoughts?
Use the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Tyler. Use the holidays, use extra things. You can get there so fast that by the time agents have been layering in their 36 touch for 4 to 5 years, it looks more like 52 to 68 touches. Not kidding. Now let's start talking about social media promotions added in there, and a specific sphere, inner circle, VIP group of social media and that engagement. How many touches could that be? It's huge. Like, don't think that this is complicated, you guys. Tell yourself a different story. Ask yourself, like, what thoughts did I have? And let's change your mindset around that. And be proud of yourself for wherever you're at on this. Like I said, it doesn't start with 36. Just begin layering some of those things in. The other way is we've made some cheats for you. There's literally the easiest smart plan campaign at your neighborhood. Literally the easiest. Here's what I love about it. You get someone's contact information in an email and you say, hey, I'm going to send you information about your own neighborhood from time to time so you're apprised on the real estate market, okay? And they're like, okay. Would you like to know what your neighbors sell their house for? Yeah, I bet you do. Okay, I'm going to send you that information from time to time. So you put their own house on it. Now you say, when you do move in 7 to 10 years, or when you do move in that move-in date that we put in your database, what will you be looking for next? And they may tell you specific neighborhood, or they may tell you some specific homes where you can find neighborhoods. Great, I'm going to send you some similar things that you just said from time to time. Great. Now you can put in those addresses in the neighborhood smart plan. And it literally comes to them. It's a live link. It opens up like a landing page or splash page. And there's tabs on their neighborhood, the neighborhood they want to live in next. You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
And it's dynamic. So it's real time. So we get real data from next door. So has the closings, has the pendings, average sale price. Here's what's so cool about it. With their own neighborhood, they get to actually edit material on features and update information on their own home, which actually starts helping the information, the AI, keep in track with what features, like they just put in granite, they just put in hardwood floors. They can add that information in and it will adjust the approximate estimated value of their home. Wow. And you know what? It's like 2 clicks. 2 clicks. Not even kidding. 2 clicks to have everybody on that. I mean, per person, right? But 2 clicks, you're on the phone then. Great. You put in their address, click that plan. Yeah. Now, you can choose that to be bi-weekly or monthly. That one alone could send your touches.
You know which one is called.
Yeah. Okay, it's a smart plan that has the word neighborhood in it. Let me say it that way. I want to say like neighborhood search, neighborhood. It's neighborhood smart. That's what I call it. But it may have like a little bit more longer title than that. Okay. If anybody on here knows the exact name of that, let me know. I don't know if Crystal's listening. She probably is. But it is the easiest and it is the best one. Okay. Here's another one that's really good and really quick. It's the KW app Smart Plan. It's 3 touches, but it's easy. It's easy to set somebody up on it. So just, you know, look at that. Now, if you haven't downloaded the KW app, which is continuing to get updates, do it, search it, test it. You don't think it's good enough, or you're not sure if it's working for your searches, be a user on it, right? I have a couple of my clients doing the same thing, and they're running it side by side with Realtor and Zillow, and they said more properties are coming up on the KW app than Realtor and Zillow.
Oh, I hear this too.
Yeah.
It's awful and fun.
Yeah. Here's what Zillow, not all listings go on Zillow anymore. And then Realtor has more of a time delay. But Realtor is good. I'm not saying they're not good. That's #1 lead conversion in the country for people who purchase leads. Who do you think it is? It is. It's Realtor. Most expensive lead, lowest conversion. Who do you think that is? Yes. Zillow, most expensive. Guess what? We have data from KWRI that we got from Insider Zillow. Thank you for that person. Every single agent, how many agents that are paying, how much they pay, and then we match it to the things they were. Yeah. So the average transaction for all of our agents for company-wide is $20,000. Because they're not paying for closings. They're just paying for a name number. There's a million resources that will give you that all day for way cheaper, right? Okay, so I hope that what you guys take away from this section is 1, don't wait to start now, just a little at a time. 2, don't overcomplicate it, overthink it. It's really easy to get there over time. You will get there. And then lastly, and here's my biggest thing on this, don't skip the quarterly phone calls. The conversations, the emails, the texts, the note cards, the invites, the information about their neighborhood cannot replace the conversation. They only enhance it. You get that? Good. Right. The last, and this is actually the final section. Like I said, we were going to be done earlier today. And we're going to talk about our message. Okay. So we did in our last session, I think it was Laura that taught it. It was.
Hey, Kristen?
Yeah.
Question about the previous slide, the 1 to cement. Did we talk about what the 1 to cement was? At the bottom, there was 19 to connect, 36 to convert, 1 to cement, a high value touch that solidifies the relationship. And I just wondered if I missed it, if we defined what that was.
Already talked about it, but I'm glad that you pointed that out, and thank you for stopping me to back up. What do you guys think that is?
Probably
What's
the
the
moment
one?
when you provide some sort of value to the person that maybe no one else has.
How will you know what the value is?
I have no idea.
Thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. Right? You won't unless you've asked. This is a funny, not funny, but it's a curious statement to me, the 1 to cement. And it's almost a trick question because we cannot decide which will be the 1 to cement. They will.
Okay.
So in reality, any of these have the opportunity to become the 1 that cements. But I'm going to say you won't know without those 4 calls a year, without those conversations, and without asking questions. Now, mind you, it's 4 quarterly calls for your database for people that didn't come through an open house, click on a CMA ad, right? That is different. Your lead follow-up to them is way different, right? It's way faster. There's way more calls. You do not wait 3 months. Somebody's buying in 6 months. But the 1 to cement, you will know, right? by hearing their language back, their engagement back, their response back, their like, and I would say you get some kind of signal that they affirm they're going to move forward with you when they're ready to buy, sell, invest. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for asking, Melinda, because I appreciate you letting me circle back and get some clarity on that, because it is on the slide and I feel like it's a little misleading. Hi. Okay. So you guys went over the 6 connection questions, correct? In the last one, but I'm going to review it in case I need to. It says use to craft your message in some of your touches, right? Not all of them are going to be obviously phone calls, and not all of them will have a MOFR, which if you guys remember what that is, anyone? MOFR?
Make
Michael,
offer
do you know
for
it?
immediate response.
I knew it. Yeah. Make offer for immediate response. Okay.
Mofers, man.
That's
Mofers,
right.
guys.
That's right. Not every one of your touches, right? 36 touch to 68 touch will have that. However, specific ones, sure. Okay. So we're going to talk about, first of all, I'm going to remind you of the 6 questions for connection. First of all, simple, who are they? And then, by the way, it's on your packet, 12-5, if you have the packet, right? Who are they? And I love this because it's going to be easy. I'm going to take you back to 1st grade writing, right? It's who, what, where, why, when. Who, what, when, where, why. That's the 6 questions, right? But who are they? What do they want or need to do? Where do they want or need to do it? Why do they want or need to do it? When do they want or need to do it? And how do they plan to do it? So when we use the 6 questions in conjunction with a MOFR, it ups our response time. MOFR, make offer for immediate response, is just a direct offer, right? So for example, we were talking about the neighborhood plan. We found out that what they would do and where they would do it, right? So maybe an offer for occasionally for those people who are on those, when you're making your calls and you can see they click through, by the way, you can see that, is what questions do you have? Or you might reach out to them and say, hey, I noticed some properties came up on your neighborhood search. Call me with questions. Call me to find out more information, right? Well, I'm offering them. What are some other questions or MOFRs? Sorry, not questions, MOFRs that could you include into your 36 touch plan? Let's hear some ideas.
Would you be interested in knowing what your house is worth in the market of the moment?
Yep. So home price, home value, that's a good one. What else?
I would think, it comes down to, like they say, peel the onion, like dig deeper to the personal drivers that are going to make them move. Like what's most important to them to make them move.
Absolutely.
You then use the negotiation.
Yeah. But if you don't have that relationship yet, and it's not established, what's an offer you can make to them so you can get to that place in the relationship? Like think about your movers, because they're not necessarily to capture the people that you regularly and have had those deep conversations with, right? So now you're looking for something that will engage them one step closer in the relationship so that you have the opportunity to ask those questions, right? Yeah, you could offer me. That's great. Yeah, that is an offer. That's a direct offer, and it requires an immediate response. It's that simple, right? We don't have to make it so You can invite them to an open house. You could ask them if they want to see that house they keep looking at and clicking through in their email. I know it's not, you said it's not the time, but would you like to experience what it would feel like to walk through this dream home of yours? Man, we get people like that all the time. Yeah. I love some of these that they have here, right? They're right on your page on that 12-6. It says interest rates are the lowest ever. Wouldn't that be funny? No, but wouldn't that be funny? Interest rates are the lowest ever. No, they're not.
Mhm.
Call me to ask me why I believe that. Or you can even say, interest rates are at historic lows. Does that surprise you? Call me so I can talk to you about affordability, right? Homes are the most affordable they've been in 30 years. Call me today so I can explain why. We talked about last week redefining affordability.
What about now? There's none of
I'm
that.
talking about now. All of it means now.
Explain more.
We did talk about this last week, but I'll give you a quick review.
Yeah.
If you look at the historic graphic, which you can show them, 7% is the baseline for historic lows over 30 years. 7%. We're under that. We're actually under at 6. I mean, I don't know what it is today, so it keeps popping around, right? So it's something. Everything 7 and under is a gift. Everything. It is the baseline for historic lows. You know how we get baselines? We get it from averages. Second, why is it so affordable? Because the last couple of years at 2 and 3, people were spending a lot of money to win the home and spending a lot of money after to deal with those repairs out of pocket and all of that. Take that cash, buy down the rate, or save that, what it would have taken to win the home, get the home, repair the home, build the appraisal gap, take that and put it towards the little bit extra in their payment until they can refi lower. Again, redefine affordability. I'm going to say, I don't care what the interest rate is when somebody has to pay $100,000 cash out of pocket just to win the bid and forego the inspection to know like things that are going to cost them out of pocket and the appraisal gap. That's not affordable, you guys. You have the opportunity to reframe what affordability is. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. So this class, so using the 6 connection questions, right, that you can filter into some of your 36 touch for some of your conversations and using MOFers for some of that content that you're putting out there for your clients, right? Being very intentional about creating an actionable, message so that they want to call you, meet with you, go to coffee with you, set an appointment, right? Now, next. We're spend a few minutes time planning our touches, okay? So if you haven't done so, on page 12.7, just take a few minutes and write out some of these ideas. We're just gonna take a few minutes.
What's that?
Okay, just
12.
Okay, everybody got a couple things jotted down? I think these are out of orders. Let me back up. Nope. All right. Now we're gonna do a little math, but don't worry because I'm actually gonna do the math for you. But write down, and you have this page on the back, if you turn over if you don't have it, it's 12.8. So it's number of contacts in your database. So you're gonna write that down. If you don't know, just guess for me. And if you don't know this, an agent that first gets in the business, right? The goal is to first start with 100 and get it to 201 as soon as you can. Because all our stats show that agents that do that in the first 3 years, after that, make over $100,000 every year. I want to say this. Everybody gets in the business to make $100,000 more. This is just as a statistic, like I could be at Mega Camp and 12,000 agents in the room and stand on the stage and say, who got in this business to make $100,000? And 95% of the room will raise their hand. It's true. What I want to say to all of you is that's just very important. That's a beginning number. Get to 500,000. Don't let yourself stop it. Okay. All right. But that is the statistic with the data is when you regularly touch, and it takes being in the business 3 years though to start seeing those results, right? Because some of the people and you put your database that you're communicating with, they're just not there yet, right? But they will be. Okay. So now you're going to multiply that by 4, and that's your number of calls per year, right? So if it's 200 people in your database, right, times 4, how many calls is that? 800. Does that sound scary? No, it's not, is it? Now we're going to divide that by 12. Right now, divided by 12. How many calls per month? 56. Now we're going to divide that by week. How many calls per week? 15. Now divided by a day. How many calls per day? If you work a 4 or 5 day lead gen, right? Think about that. That's at 200. 4 calls a day. That's it, right? If you have a database of 200 and you make 4 connections one-on-one every day, you're going to make over $100,000 when you do that systematic touch of 36 more touches in the next couple of years. Does anyone say, why does it seem so easy? Is anyone thinking that's not as hard as I thought it would be?
I think it just, when you think of yearly numbers, it's overwhelming. And so you break it down to the daily numbers, then it's like, that's really.
Yeah. Knock it down. That's right. Melinda? I see her square light up sometimes. Did you have a question or something to share, add to that, Melinda?
Sorry, I was distracted. It seems not that bad.
It's not that bad, right? Now the power comes from how you have those conversations, obviously, but, and here's a tip too, and just working with, a bigger team and working with ISAs, it helps, we say lead gen first thing in the morning, we follow it first thing in the morning. There's magic in that because your day will run away with itself. However, it is smart to have afternoon call time or a weekend call time for those people that you have struggled to get hold of over and over again. And shoot them a text and leave them a quick voice message and say, hey, I have a quick question for you. Can you call me back? Yeah. All right. So figure out your number per day. Now, something's bothering me. I feel like it's unfair to go on without saying this. If you look at the math, never mind, we divided it by 4. So that's 4 costs for you. It is 4 costs for you. I was like, by 12, by week, by day, and then I'm like, wait, we already times it by 4. So we're good. Those are for our quarterly costs because we are calling them quarterly. Never mind. It's not bothering me anymore. I just need to get there. Okay, we already planned our touches. Okay. If you haven't seen, this is smart. I'm not going to connect you to a smart plan today. I'm going to say you need help with this. There's lots of resources. One is Crystal. Hold on. Go to one of her classes or get a one-on-one meeting. She can show you a few things over Zoom, but she has limited time too. Just so you know, and I'm going to try to like circle around. See this little connect right next to command? It's like a magic button to take you to a world of all kinds of training and videos. Now, I'm going to give you a shortcut. Write this down. 66-day challenge. Search it on YouTube for command. Command 66-day challenge. Okay. It's a great resource. His name is Marty Miller. He's one of our tech and command coaches for mounts. He does this for free. He does all these small 2-minute videos. So you don't want to watch an hour class? Great. Don't, right? Watch a 2-minute video of how to put the contact and watch a 2-minute video of how to add a smart plan. Watch it and do that. Do the video, then do it. That to me, chunked down is the easiest way to build what you want to do over time. Now, I've said this before and it's worth repeating. Don't worry about
Kristen?
all the things. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you say the 6-day challenge will like tell you how to set up the 36 touches? Is that kind of what it's for?
36-day challenge will tell you how to do elements in command that will become your 36 touch. So for example, a newsletter, a smart plan, right? Yeah, campaign, putting the contact in, tagging them, all the elements so that you can get there. Yes.
Thank you.
66-day challenge.
Got it.
Command 66-day challenge. It's on YouTube. The trainer is Marty Miller. Okay. He's all over YouTube. He's clicked a million times because millions of agents are watching it. And he chunks it down. So you can actually search by topic for the one thing. Now, here's what I was going to say. Don't worry about all the things command does or doesn't do. Just ask yourself, what's the next few things I want to do in command? And find that. Okay. And then it'll be the next thing you want to do in command. And then the next thing you want to do. And by the end of that, discovery with yourself over a few months, you're going to be building in these practices in command that now you're like, I'm utilizing this at a level I never utilized it before. And I'll just go on my soapbox here a minute. I want you to know, big surprise, all CRMs, contact relationship managers, all of them have problems. There are no perfect ones, and they all have different bells and whistles in reality. So, especially if you're new to the business, you're going to have a give up in anyone you can use, and you're going to have to do a workaround or something. Start here. It's free-ish, right? I mean, it's part of your fee, right? And it's the only CRM out there that was designed on AI that didn't just add AI as a bolt-on resource later. Only one of its kind. It gets smarter and smarter every day, which will make you smarter and smarter every day. Also, insider tip, if you don't know this, our new beautiful, dynamic, consumer-facing websites are going to be released sometime shortly after MegaCamp. So that's the word on the street, which is exciting because they're incredible. I cannot wait. All right. So
Do you recommend doing MegaCamp as a new agent? Or is that something you do down the road?
I recommend you lead with revenue. So if you can afford the trip and you don't need to borrow money to do it, I absolutely say get there as fast as you can. I have not missed a mega camp at Family Reunion since I've been licensed. Fortunate that I got to go every time.
You see the value.
100%. They're very different. They're, well, similar in some ways, but Mega Camp is very concentrated and it's panels of the best doing it the way the systems and models were intended to be done all day in the same room, and you're hearing like meat after meat after meat, right? Like so much value. It's almost overwhelming. It's amazing. And Family Reunion is it's big sessions in the morning and the training rooms all over, right? So you go to specific training, get training. So it's a little bit different, but both are good for those different reasons. So yeah, so I say the sooner you can get there, the better. I'm still in this. Okay. And now we're closing up, we're wrapping up. In that, I want to remind you of your success system. Now, if you haven't been following the success system, no worries, because you can do that anytime. And by the way, you can create your own success system. I want to talk to you about what that needs to entail. The 5 most important jobs of a real estate professional. This does not come from me. This comes from AW. Really, it's in our bold content, which I talked about bold earlier, but there's 5 priorities. Doesn't mean there's only 5 things to do. The 5 priorities, the things that we should never skip every day. Who knows what those are? Anyone? The 5 things we should do every day and not skip. Lead gen, okay, is 1. Lead follow-up is 2. Right, so your lead gen and lead follow-up are the same. I'm not talking about transaction follow-up. I'm not talking, that's not the same follow-up. Okay, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, and practicing your conversations. Those are the 5 things as a professional we should never miss doing every day. So this success system is pretty much based around that. It has the system down. It is on page 12.10 of your thing. What I'm going to say is choose a plan for you and stick to it and commit to it. Give yourself like, okay, this week I'm going to do it all 5 days and put it in my calendar. And then the next week reset. Okay, this week I'm going to do all 5 days, the next reset, right? Pretty soon you're forming a habit. So this success system says 10 conversations a day, 10 contacts added a day, 10 handwritten notes a day, and then the 10-5-1 social media engagement, which I think you guys learned about in the social media class, but I think it's like 10 hearts, 5 or hearts or likes, 5 comments and post. I don't know. Yeah. What is it?
Like a personal message.
Yeah. Like a personal post, yeah. And then obviously if you have, follow-up to do and you get appointments and you have agreements to write, those are in there too. But the 5 most important things, if you can create that and you start to make a habit of that in your work day, every day, you'll have any size business you want. Literally. Any business you want in this industry. All right, so the rest of the time, finish 30 minutes early. You guys can make some contacts. There is a conversation sheet on 12.11 where you can sit down and write out people that you could strengthen the relationship today. Who could I talk to, have a conversation with, ask a question to, make strengthen the relationship and or move them forward? Okay. Thank you guys so much. Hey, any questions right now? Any questions about anything? We're early. You got some time back, and that's fine. But anybody have any questions about anything? I'm happy to answer.
No, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you guys.
I have a question, Kristen. I always have questions. I'm always good for a question. Where do you get, like, if you're gonna, let's say you're gonna do lead gen every day and you just need a fresh perspective, a fresh conversation starter, where would you go for that idea if you are out of ideas?
There is a whole script manual in Ignite. In your Ignite workbook that
Yes.
you could download with this. So there's that. I would say brainstorm a whole list of things that you can talk about from a customer service perspective, to start practicing having that conversation. Also, remember I clicked this connect, right? You
Mhm.
can watch some series of agents practicing conversations on there, little videos and stuff. YouTube has some, the KW YouTube, things to talk about or role play. Also, there is, let me see if it's available to you. I think there's some in you may not be part of that. I'm looking for it really quick. I'm looking for a Facebook group. Let me see. Recon. Oops. I don't know if you can do this. Yeah, in KW Maps Coaching has a Facebook page that you guys can follow. And they're doing scripts Monday through Friday, live, and at 6:30 our time, because it's central their time. So you can listen in and hear their scripts and practice those every single day, Monday through Friday. So there's a lot of resources out there. You kind of just have to start somewhere. What I recommend though, is you just start with one or two and practice those for a couple weeks and then move on to another one and another one. Okay?
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, guys. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's try to stop recording here.